Ever since I was a jit, I knew I was a winner. I pray to God forgive me cause I'm a born sinner. Got more on my plate than a Thanksgiving dinner. Gotta save for rainy days cause shit do get thinner.
You know how we giving it up, man. It's your boy Jumpout L.O. You tuned in to check your mental. And today I want to talk about things that I do when I'm battling my depression. And the things that I notice, the things that I do when I'm going through depression that gives me a sign that I'm depressed. For example, I tend not to clean up as much. Like I go in my room, my house is just all over the place. I'll get undressed and I just throw everything on the floor and just lay down and be comfortable, just sitting in a mess. And then I'll realize what's going on, and I force myself to get off the funk, right? I force myself to clean. I force myself to go do laundry. I force myself to do these things because I don't want to stay in that slump, right? I don't want to stay in that slump of being depressed and feeling sorry for myself. But I have things that I have in order when these things happen. For example, I have a strong circle of friends that I could just reach out whenever, and I let them know that, hey, man, I'm going through it right now. And some of them sit there and just listen to me. They listen to my frustrations. They listen to what I'm going through, and they give me suggestions and advice on how to handle things. But overall, it's up to you to do what you want with that, to do what you need to do with that information, right? Because it's not their job to hold your hand. It's totally up to you at the end of the day. Because when I'm feeling down and out again, I don't want to do anything. I don't even want to be around people. I become so detached from the world, right, that I don't want nothing or nobody around me. But what that does for me is just it puts me in a deeper depression, or it sets me back, right? And I don't want to be in that place anymore, right? So I always talk about it, or I come on here and I make my episode about things that I do when I'm going through it, right? And one of those things that I do besides talking to my friends and having a good circle is I practice gratitude, right? I sit there and I literally or write, what am I grateful for? If you get a notebook and you should start writing the things that you're grateful for, you'll forget why you're even down, right? Because you have so much to be grateful for. Sometimes we take everything for granted. We take waking up in the morning for granted. We take just saying hi to our mothers in the morning for granted. We take just being able to see, being able to talk, being able to walk. We take that for granted, right? And I always speak on this, but I have to keep revisiting because, like I said, mental health is an ongoing battle. And with me, it's ongoing. I've noticed that I repeat the same patterns over and over and over again. Right, so I know there's somebody that could relate to me. I know that there's somebody that's going through it too, that feels like, yo, why am I keep doing the same things over and over and over? Sometimes that's what happens. You just keep, it's a pattern of repetition. Things just keep happening because your brain, right? Your brain protects you from you. So your brain automatically try to protect you. So what it does is, it's gonna make you do something that helped you with that feeling before. For example, let's say when you were going through it, you might have drunk something, and when you were feeling drunk, that feeling that it gave you, it made you forget about your problems for that moment, right? So your brain automatically goes to that, like, man, I know what I did before when I was going through this, right? But that's not the way to do things, right? That's why I have this channel, because we have to create better ways to cope than to just rely on alcohol, rely on marijuana, rely on just drugs in general, because that's just a temporary relief, right? All these things are just put a Band-Aid to the situation. That's all it do. It put a little Band-Aid, and then what happens when the situation happens again? Well, you're going to repeat these patterns, and they're not healthy ways to cope. So now, like I said before, I'm always keep repeating these things because I have to keep repeating so I could teach and you guys can learn with me, and I could also remind myself of the things that I have to do to keep saying, right? So again, I have a strong circle of friends. I practice gratitude. I journal, right? I write down my thoughts Because sometimes when you write everything that you're thinking and you write it down on a piece of paper, just writing it down helps you release and let go of that frustration, of that, or that anger, or that anxiety that you were feeling. So practice journaling, right? When you, like I said, once I started writing down my thoughts and writing down how I feel, and writing just things down on a daily, it helped me, right? It helped me release whatever was in my mind, because it's a battle of the mind, right? That's the fight. The fight is with ourselves, our thoughts, right? Our thoughts are our biggest enemy, right? So I learned to journal. Another thing that I talked about before is meditation. Meditation helps me stay in the present moment, right? I read this book before, and I spoke about it before. It's called, The Power of the Now. And The Power of Now talks about staying in the present moment. And that's something that I have a hard time doing, staying in the present moment, because I'm always thinking about the past, or I'm thinking about the future. I'm never in the present moment at times, right? Because at the present moment, everything's okay. You're alive, you're breathing, you got food, you have all the essentials you need to survive. But us as human beings, we want more, right? We want more. And that more, that's what creates the anxiety. That's what creates all the trouble. It's just the wants. But if we stay present, right, and we practice gratitude, and we do all these things and we have them in place, we don't have time to stress. We don't have time to think about the negative, because we have everything we need at this very moment, right? And I do these episodes for me as well, right? I do them for the audience, but I also do them for me, because I go through depression, you know. I also have a few group chats that I'm a part of. One of them is a positive mantra group. I spoke about this before. And I also have a friend that, between me and her, we always cheering each other up. We send each other funny memes throughout the day. She goes through things like I go through things, right? And throughout the day, I make sure that she smiles, and she makes sure that I smile, because we talk about our depression, we talk about our anxiety, we talk about our daily struggles. But just for those little moments, we forget and we get to smile and enjoy life. So little things like that, right? We check up on each other on a daily basis, just with memes. Sometimes we don't even have a conversation. We just send funny stuff throughout the day and keep our minds occupied from thinking negative. So again, that's another thing you can do. Another thing you can do is, like, I'm gonna keep repeating this, right? Because for the new viewers and the ones that don't want to go back 10, 15 episodes ago, I'm already on episode 123. So I'm pretty sure some people don't want to go and watch everything all over. So I keep repeating certain things, because it's essential that you need that you have the tools in your bag, so whenever you're going through something, you know how to attack these things, because they're going to reoccur. And that's what I'm learning with my own mental health, that these things reoccur. And whenever I get too comfortable and think that I got to figure it out, that's when things reoccur again, right? So again, establish healthy relationship, establish healthy group chats, have somebody that you can count on and you can confide in to talk to. Some people might not be accessible to a therapist, right? Some people might not feel comfortable with a therapist, but you have to have somebody in your circle that's knowledgeable enough on mental health that you can talk to. Because sometimes you can't say certain things to everybody, because some people don't know how to handle somebody that's going through depression and anxiety. They might say something that might trigger your anxiety and depression even worse. So you got to watch what you say and who you say it to. So you got to make sure you have somebody in your inner circle that you're able to talk to and confide in, and you are able to tell them these things, or how you going. Man, I picked the worst place for this episode. There's like so much background noise. It's a nice day, so the motorcycles are out, so excuse that. But I'm at the park, right? I'm at my local park, and I'm in Patterson, New Jersey. I'm in Eastside Park, so hey, that's what happens when you're in urban areas, man. It's gonna be noisy, it's gonna be all of that, right? But getting back to what I was saying, find somebody that you could confide in and you could talk to and tell them, well, like, hey man, I'm going through this, man. Can we talk? Somebody that's gonna listen to you. Some people really take mental health as a joke, and you can't confide in certain people, because, like, again, they might trigger you to feel even worse. So you have the tools. I gave you the tools, right? You have meditation, you have journaling, you have talking to a friend that's knowledgeable on mental health, you have practicing gratitude, right? If you remember these things when you're going through it, I'm not saying it's the solution to it, but it's going to help you feel better, right? And take life a day at a time. Don't rush it. Be patient with yourself. If you're like me, 30 something years old, I ain't gonna say my age, but you know what I'm saying? If you're 30 something, right? And just remember this, it took you 30 some years to get to where you are. You're not gonna change overnight, right? But if you take steps every day, you're gonna get better. You're only gonna get better. So be gentle with yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. And take life a day at a time. Stay in the present moment. Live in the present moment. And that's something that I have to remind myself daily. I have to stay in the present moment, man, because I want to rush what God has for me. What God has for you, can nobody take it away. It's already written, right? So remember that and be confident of that. And I have to remind myself of that I have to be patient and wait. That what God has for you is for you. And can nobody take it away. So I'm gonna end up with that today. I hope you guys got something from this episode. I hope you guys learn something or practice these things, because if you're like me, that you're constantly battling with depression and anxiety, it could be a roller coaster of emotions, right? But with these tools in hand, you could battle it, right? So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell a friend that we're out here doing God's work, right? We're just trying to enlighten people and show people that there are folks out here that care and don't want you to go through what we're going through, because those dark nights, I don't wish them on nobody. So you tuned in to Check Your Mental. This your boy Jumpout L.O.
People hate you when you speak the truth. They hate that shit. And shame on you if you mislead the youth. How you 35 with a missing tooth? You don't feed your kids, but you win the